I'm really in therapy right now. You literally cannot care at all. Fuck that. It will ruin you. Maybe this thing didn't work out for you because it wasn't for you. All right, y'all, as many of you know, my 25th birthday recently passed, and 25 is truly one of those ages where, like, you know how every year people ask you, do you feel any different? And normally my answer is no. Like, I feel the same, I feel regular, I'm just 23, I'm 24, whatever. But 25? Whoa. Everyone's 20s can look so different depending on where you're at in life. A lot of us are just trying to get together. Some people have kids already. Some people are fully into their careers and are married. Other people are still living at home, like myself. Like, you really just don't know. Your 20s can take you in so many different directions. And I feel like we all go through very similar lessons and experiences. So I've been brainstorming and just thinking about a list to share with you guys of 25 things I wish I knew a little bit sooner. Some of these things I unfortunately had to learn the hard way. So hopefully you won't have to, or maybe if you already have, then I'm sure you can relate. Okay, for starters, and these are really in no specific order, but this one does rank pretty high on the list of things, and that is the art of detachment. I wish I even knew the word detachment when I was younger. And I don't mean detachment in the sense of like being disconnected from things, but detachment in the sense of not holding on to things for too long that are clearly not serving you anymore. Whether this is a relationship, a job, some expectation that you had, learning how to detach from things and just saying, oh, it's okay if things don't go this way. And like just opening your mind to different perspectives and alternative ways that things can go will literally just make you so much happier. Number 2. It's okay to say no. Coming from a people pleaser, trust me, I know that it can be very difficult to say no to people sometimes, especially my friendships. I feel like that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned last year, is just that, like, if I can't come and I can't do it because I have another priority, or maybe I just don't freaking want to, it is totally okay to say no, to turn down the invite, to turn down the offer. It's gonna be a waste of your time. You're gonna regret whatever it is. You're gonna wish that you did something different with your time later. Just say no. If the only reason you're doing something is because you feel bad, if you say no, please, you'll get over that soon. Number 3 is something that I'm still working on myself. Honestly, a lot of these are things that I'm still working on myself. But number 3 is to take in the moment before it turns into a memory. Time moves extremely fast, and before you know it, literally everything turns into a memory. A lot of us in this age of social media get super caught up on our phones, and I realize that a lot about myself, even when I'm out and about, if I'm just with my friends, if I'm even just sitting at home. The only moment you have is right now. So enjoy the moment while you have it. Enjoy the people while you have them. Whatever experience that you're in, enjoy it while you have it, because everything is temporary. Like, it'll come and be gone in a jiff. Which leads me to number 4, which is you must have a goal in order to succeed. If you're not succeeding, it is your own fault and nobody else's. Myself, for example, I went through my entire college career not knowing what I wanted to be. And one thing I would always say to people when they ask is just like, I don't know, I'm just falling from the sky and I'll see wherever I land. But unfortunately for me, I came to find out that life doesn't really work that way. Like, I'm not gonna fall from the sky and just see where I land. I'm just gonna keep falling, and I'm gonna keep falling and falling and falling, and I'm going to just be directionless until I figure out where I'm trying to go. You know, like, if you don't have an end goal, you're not gonna know what steps you need to take in order to get there. Same goes for quite literally anything. Anyone that wants to be successful or succeed at anything should likely start off by having a goal. One of my goals for this year was actually to start therapy, and I finally did it, you guys. Therapy is one of those things that, like, I feel like a lot of people maybe not know that they need to go to therapy, but it's something that you think about for like a long time, and it's always a difficult process. If you've ever tried getting therapy, maybe from your job or a medical provider, you know how difficult it can be, especially in America. I've literally had to go through multiple phone screenings to just give me like a little buffer appointment before they could actually match me with a therapist. And then I got matched with a therapist that didn't have another appointment for 3 months. Why, y'all? Did that 3 months come and the day of my appointment, the therapist calls out and doesn't have another appointment for a month. I'm like, it's been 4 months. I don't even need therapy anymore. I did. I definitely still did. But I have officially started therapy and it's been great thanks to BetterHelp. So shout out to BetterHelp, of course, for sponsoring this portion of today's video. If you don't know what BetterHelp is basically an online therapy service that allows you to connect with over 30,000 different therapists. BetterHelp has made this process so much easier. All I had to do was answer a short questionnaire about how I've been feeling lately, what kind of things that I feel like I need help with, what type of qualities I would like in my therapist, and in most cases, they're able to match you with a therapist in 48 hours. Not 3 months. And I had my first appointment within a week. The best part is you can choose to have your sessions through a phone call, a video chat, or even messaging. I personally chose the phone option. Like I can just walk around the house and do what I need to do and vent and then just sit for a second and be like, dang, I'm really in therapy right now. But you know, I don't know. And if you feel like your therapist is not a good fit for you, you can always change your therapist at no cost with a click of a button and they'll match you with someone else and it won't be another 3 months before you find another therapist. So if any of this is sounding familiar to you or you've just really been wanting to start therapy but haven't taken that step, make sure you check out the link in my description. It's betterhelp.com/CameronAlexis for 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. While we're on the topic of therapy, the next big lesson that I've learned is that part of your healing journey is realizing the part that you're playing in your own suffering. So for example, you've been knowing that you needed to go to therapy for 2 years and you haven't gone yet. You know, but also just taking ownership for all the things that maybe didn't go right or are not going your way. You kind of just have to look back and realize, okay, well, where did I misstep? What did I do wrong? How did I play a part in this situation that happened to me or for me? What could I have done differently? What am I still not doing differently that could change my outlook in the future? Everything, and I mean everything that happens to you, whether you like it or not, is a result of your own actions, of your own choices, your own decisions, and that goes for good and for bad. So if you're going through anything, if you're in a healing journey, one thing you might have to do is self-reflect and realize the part that you played in that situation, in that suffering as well. Number 7, or maybe number 6, I'm already losing count, but number 7 is that change is inevitable. I've been hearing this my entire life growing up. My mom used to say it all the time. Like every time something would happen, she would be like, change is inevitable. And I'd be like, okay, mom, I get it. But no, for real. Life can change quick. Life comes in seasons. Like everything is temporary. All your emotions, if you're going through something that's like, just feels impossible to freaking get through. Like, how am I even gonna do this? Or even just as a reminder, if you're getting really comfortable in life, like things are destined to change. Nothing is going to stay exactly the same forever. The things that are bothering you or maybe you feel really strongly about at the current moment are probably not even gonna be relevant in a year or in 5 years and 6 years. Like, me personally, for example, I had like the biggest beef. Y'all would never believe. It's literally the only person on the planet that I've ever had beef with. And it was one of my old college roommates. And at that time, that whole thing was literally rocking my world. Like it was my entire world. It was, I don't want to say it was all that I talked about, but it was a topic of conversation every single day. And a few years later, I honestly can't even tell you what the beef was about. Like it's not ringing a bell. It's not ringing a bell. Like I don't know. Life comes in seasons, change is inevitable. You can never say when things are going to change, but just know that they will. Along with that, another lesson I learned, unfortunately the hard way, is that while change is inevitable, pain is also inevitable. I think that when you're in your early 20s, you experience a lot of painful things in maybe a different capacity than you have before. In my case, it was breakups and grief and health challenges and just dealing with all these different transitions in life and feeling like, well, I went through this one bad thing, so I'm probably going to be good for another X amount of time, or like, this already happened to me, so I've had my bad. No. Pain is inevitable, and it's just something that we're all gonna have to go through, and we're gonna all have to learn how to cope with eventually, and just accept that, like, yeah, this bad thing happened, but it's not the end of the world, and it's okay if something else bad does happen, because 9 times out of 10, a lot more good stuff is happening anyway. Number 10, I think. I don't know, I'm just gonna stop saying the numbers, I'll put them on the screen. But allow people to change, including yourself. As I was saying, I had a roommate that I really just didn't get along with at one point in time, but there was a point in time where she was one of my closest friends. We got along really well, and I just thought that we were gonna be besties forever. But at the end of the day, people change, including you, including myself. I'm sure there's plenty of things that she thought she really liked about me at the beginning of our friendship that maybe she didn't like about me at the end of our friendship. And it might feel like a bad thing in the moment, but later on, you'll look back and just realize, oh, that just wasn't for me. I'm supposed to be wherever I'm at right now, and I had to change, or this person had to change in order to be where they are. And it doesn't even always have to be a bad thing. Like, our habits are going to change, our ideals are going to change, our hobbies are going to change, our friendships are going to change. Like, you kind of just gotta go with the flow, let people change, let people come, let people go, and allow yourself to change. If something's not working for you anymore, if you don't like this thing anymore, if this is not something you want to do, like, do something else. There's so many options, there's so many things to do in life. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to like this thing and not like it anymore. To say that you want it to go, but you don't want to go anymore. Like, to like this person, but you don't like them anymore. Like, change is, it's okay. The next thing isn't necessarily something that I wish I knew sooner, but maybe just something I wish I considered or thought about or acknowledged. And it's actually a terminology. It's called sonder. If you've ever heard of Brent Faiyaz's band called Sonder, this is actually how I ended up learning what this word even meant. But it's basically the realization that every individual on this planet is living a life that is as vivid and complex as your own. All of the experiences you've had, everything you've been through, the fact that you go to bed at night and you brush your teeth and you lay down, and like, I'm sitting in this room right now filming a video and you're sitting at home or wherever you are doing your own thing. Everybody is living a life that is so vivid and complex that I could never explain in enough detail what I go through on a day-to-day basis, what runs through my brain, what things I've experienced that have shaped the person that I am today. I don't know. It's kind of just a different way to look at the whole, like, be nice to people because you never know what they're going through. Yeah, you don't know what they're going through, but just think about it in the perspective of your own life and how, if you just have one really strong memory that you could never put it into enough detail for someone else to experience it the exact same way that you did. So I don't know, just realizing that has opened up my eyes so much more and just made me see things a lot differently, or just like, I'll just see a human and be like, oh my gosh, they're so cool. Like, they have their whole own entire life that's completely different from mine. Yeah, anyway, next lesson, just start. Just do the dang thing. Especially for me, I've wanted to do YouTube for such a long time and always just thought that I didn't either have what it took, I didn't have the confidence, I didn't have the right equipment, I didn't have the lighting, I didn't have the time. I made every excuse in the book about why I couldn't start. And even looking back, I'll find videos of myself that I took on my phone where I was just making like an eyebrows tutorial or something back in like 2017, and just stuff that I didn't post maybe because I didn't feel like it was good enough at the time. It took me a long time to get started, but when I think about how much further ahead I could be if I had actually started in 2017 and not 2021, you know, a lot of us wait for the right time and the perfect moment to start something or do something, but baby, there is never going to be a more perfect time than right now, because all the stuff that you're waiting to learn and to do and for things to be perfect so that you can do whatever the hell it is, it's gonna get to that point anyway, whether you start it now or whether you start when you think it's perfect. There's always going to be room for improvement. So going along with that, next lesson, don't be afraid to fail. If you're afraid to fail, you're never going to learn. You're never going to do anything. You're not really going to make it or go super far if you're too afraid of scraping your knee. You're never going to learn how to ride a bike if you're too scared to fall and scrape your knee. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a big reason that a lot of people are afraid to fail has more so to do with the embarrassment aspect of it and not just failing. Because if there's really something that you want to try so bad but you might fail, you probably won't care as much if it's something that you can fail like behind closed doors where not everybody can know that you failed. But literally everybody's gonna fail at something, and at the end of the day, you'd rather say that you tried, say that you gave it your effort, than to say that you never tried and you don't know if it's something that you're even good at because you were too scared to even start. So don't be afraid of failure. Failure is where we learn, and failure is often what leads to a lot of your success. While I'm speaking about not being afraid of failure, number 13 is you're not failing if things don't go to plan. Just because something didn't go how you thought it was gonna go or how you expected it to go does not mean that you're failing. It just means that they're not going how you thought it was gonna go. And that's probably another big lesson I learned in my 20s, that like life is going to take you where it's gonna go. A lot of unexpected things are going to happen. A lot of things aren't going to go exactly as planned. Like for myself, my entire life, I just knew I was gonna have a kid by the time I was 25. And things clearly are not going to that plan, but that does not mean that I'm failing. That's just not the path that my life was supposed to go down. And so even when things might seem bad or like they're not going as planned, just always keep in mind that there is an alternative route. There is still something else on the other side, that maybe this thing didn't work out for you because it wasn't for you. But that doesn't mean that you're failing, because you're still going to succeed at something else or at whatever it is that is for you. Number 14 is expect the unexpected, which I kind of just touched on briefly, but like, I don't know, just stay on your toes. Be ready for whatever life is gonna throw at you. You're not gonna see it coming. It might hit you in the face. It might hit you in your rear. Like, you really don't know. But expect the unexpected, and the unexpected doesn't always have to be bad. Unexpected good things can also happen. Next lesson, another big one for me. You have to 100% have to. You have to believe in yourself more than anybody else does. If there's something that you want to do, if you want to start something new, if you want to move to a different city, if you want to go to school, if you want to have kids, literally everything you do, someone else is going to have a reason why you shouldn't. Someone is going to have a negative opinion or some idea, something that maybe you should watch out for, or they're just trying to look out for you, or they're trying to give you this precaution. They want you to think realistically. They don't know if it's a good idea because it's not something they would do. But if you don't believe in yourself more than literally any other person believes in you, it will ruin you. It will hold you back. It will prevent you from growing and trying and doing things that you probably really want to do, something that you might be good at, something that you'll likely succeed at, but you're letting all these naysayers and people with their unsolicited opinions and advice get into your head a little bit too much. And so now you're drawing back a little bit and you're not gonna try. No, fuck that. If you feel like you can do it, you better you literally cannot care at all about what anybody else has to say, because you're so in your head like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, but I could do it though. Yeah, thanks for that, but like, I'm gonna still do it though, because I know I can. You know, I don't know, you just have to. And know that other people might not always be trying to discourage you, but literally just have lived their own lives and have different experiences that maybe they strongly, genuinely feel like they're trying to help you by discouraging you, you know, just from their own viewpoint. So don't take it personally if people do try to discourage you, but just always believe in yourself more than anyone else does. Long story short. Next lesson, you are the blueprint. There's only one you. There's only one life that you've lived and the experiences that you've had. And so, like I was saying earlier, our 20s can look entirely different from like person to person. So try not to look at the person next to you or whoever you saw on Instagram or on the screen and compare yourself to them because you feel like you should be in the same position. You don't know what that person has done or what they've been through, and you really can't compare like your chapter 1 to their chapter 20. You know what I'm saying? Find inspiration in other people, but just know that you are going to be the one that creates your own life. You are the blueprint for your own life. Whatever you think you can do is what you can do. Next one is, it's not gonna happen if you don't do it. For example, I would like to have a better sleep schedule, but then I like continue to stay up late every night. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna happen. I want to be more consistent on YouTube, but if I'm not filming every week, then that's not gonna happen. So on and so forth. You get the point. If you want to do something, you gotta put action behind it. Even with this whole manifestation thing, you can manifest all you want. You can write it down all you want. You can think about it all you want. If you don't put no actions behind it, it's not gonna happen. It's just not. The next one is a big one. This one I probably should have told y'all a little bit earlier on in the video, but learn love through your female friendships. I personally spent a lot of my youth in relationships, and honestly, I don't regret it. My first relationship was 5 years long, roughly. I was in that relationship from the age 15 to 20, and then I got in another relationship a few months later and was with that person from 21 to 23. And it wasn't until I was single and I started spending a lot more time with my girls that I was like, oh, this is what it feels like. Like, oh, okay. Yes, romantic love is obviously going to be different from your friendships, but when people say that your relationship should really start as a friendship first, I really understand why now that I've been able to spend so much more time with my girlfriends. Like, I love my girlfriends. Girls, if you're not a girl's girl, you're scary. You're scary, sis. You're real scary. Like, I'm scared of you. That's all I can say. I don't know. But if you want to experience a top tier love, it's gonna come from the other woman in your life. It's gonna come from yourself too. And it can come from a partner. But my girls have just really set the bar high for any other man that attempts to enter my life. Like, if you can't make me laugh as hard as she does, you're cut. Number 19, luxury is really in the small things, in the things that people can't really take away from you. Like, luxury is in your friendships, in your support circle. Luxury is so heavily in health. I don't really like to share too much about my health and the things that I go through, but if you've ever had a health scare of any sort, or you've just been in a situation where you felt fearful for your life because of something that was maybe out of your control, those moments, just nothing will ever make you feel more vulnerable than that. Like, oh my God, nothing else really matters. Like, if I'm not healthy and I'm not alive, then all this stuff around me does not matter. Like, what really matters is what things and what experiences make me feel good outside of luxury. Material items, as much as they are nice, and I love me some things, I can say that I am materialistic to an extent, but what really matters is how I'm taking care of myself, what people I keep around me, like what do I do for myself every day that makes me happy, things that I can take with me when I go to the grave, because everybody's gonna have their time. I hate to be dark like that, but true luxury lies in the things that you can take with you. Number 20, that your 20s are scary. Your early 20s is kind of like an identity crisis. It's your first couple of years away from your family and your home, and you're really like shaping your own identity and figuring out who you are outside of what you've always known growing up, outside of being told what was right from wrong. You're having to make these decisions on your own. There's just so much change and like newness in your early 20s, but eventually, I'm hoping, I'm really not there yet, to be honest, but eventually we're gonna step into who we are and things are gonna be a little bit more clear. I just kind of wish that I had a little bit more of a heads up on the whole, like, Your 20s are kind of scary. Everything is new. Like, I feel like your early 20s or just your 20s in general is like going through the toddler phase of adulthood. You know, like you're trying to become an adult, but you still kind of need some help, and you want to have your independence, but you still kind of need some help. You're trying to figure out who you are, but you're still trying to balance with these ideals and morals that have been planted in you since you were young. Like, I don't know, a lot goes on in your 20s, and it really can be scary, but it's also great at the same time. I don't know. I feel like your 20s are probably also the best times that you're gonna have in your life. Number 21 is that you are what you consume. And I'm not just talking about food. I'm talking about books. I'm talking about radio, music, TV, social media, everything. What you put into your mind, your body, and your brain is what you become. I even learned for myself that I had to stop watching Grey's Anatomy. As much as I loved that show, I was really having a ball. I realized that I was starting to force myself to like desensitize from the fact that people were passing on every single episode, and there was monitors beeping, and it was always something tragic because that's just the kind of show that it is. But it just really was not good for me mentally. I was dealing with a lot of grief within my family at the same time that I had been starting to watch Grey's Anatomy, and I just was like, I don't know, like maybe I should stop trying to force myself to watch it and force myself to feel like, well, it's just a TV show. Cause like at the end of the day, it was affecting me. I promise you guys, I stopped watching that show and my grieving process got a little bit easier. It was weird. Like I felt like I was constantly thinking about death or just like fearful about it. And I'm like, maybe if I stopped watching this show where people go on every episode, then I'll stop thinking about it so much. And I literally did. So yeah, if you're not feeling good, watch what you're consuming and not just food. Whatever books you read and the people you follow are going to start to shape the way that you think. And the way you think is how you feel, and the way you feel is how you act, and how you act is who you are. So careful. The last thing, I honestly don't know if this is 25 or if I'm more than 25, less than 25, but I think I'm roughly 25. But the last thing is to stay humble and never say never, because it can happen to you. Anything that you can think of that, oh, that wouldn't happen to me, that can't, I'm not subject to those type of things, or you're judging even the next person for what they're going through. You could be going through that exact same thing tomorrow. Like, life is real funny like that. Life will literally take a joke that you're laughing at and throw it in your face and say, hey, now it's you. You're not untouchable. It can always be you. And while I might be saying that with sort of like a negative connotation, it could also be you in terms of success or good things. Or if you see someone that is maybe in a position you wish you were in and you think that, oh, that could never be me, it literally can. It can be you. Anything that any other human being has or is going through in this world, whether it's good or it's bad, it can happen to you in the same way that it happened to them. So just stay humble, never say never, accept what comes to you, roll with the punches. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. To all my girls in your early 20s or just in your 20s in general, I love y'all. We got this. And before we know it, we're gonna be in our 30s. But we don't have to talk about that right now. I love y'all, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.